Hello and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. My name is Gene Curl, and this is another episode where I'm reading my mission journal that I kept while I was a missionary for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And as I don't have any announcements or anything, so I'll just start off where I left off in the last episode. Saturday, the 20th of November 2004, clear, hot, light wind. The zone leaders met us at our pad at 10 and switched for team-ups. Elder S stayed in my area with me, and Elder H went to the other area with Elder O. I thought that the day would be a wash like most Saturdays, but today turned out to be a pretty good day. We started off by meeting with Carlton, reading the Book of Mormon with him, and teaching him about the Holy Ghost, etc. John S happened to be at Carlton's house, and we got him to join in on the lesson. Carlton said that he would come to church tomorrow, and John said that he would think about it. Next, we visited John M. and read the Book of Mormon with him. We read Lehi's dream, and when we finished, John said that he had had as well, where out of the ground came a huge lion with words beneath his feet that said, "John, I love you." He has taken a lot of drugs in the day, so I am not sure if it was not a product of the drugs. Besides that, he had a pretty good understanding of what we read. We had lunch at the pad. I ate some more of the food that Sister H gave us for dinner on Friday. After lunch, we tracked it until about 15:30 and did not teach anyone. Where we parked the truck was across the street from Sister C's house. Every time I stop by, she is kind of standoffish, and she was even a little cold with Brother Ian, at least last time he came by. But I thought that if we asked her for some water, she might talk to us for 2 or 3 minutes. It turned out that she talked to me for 30 minutes. She really opened up and told me about her kids, her deceased husband, her grandkids, etc. The things that she said will not be written here, as they are very personal to Sister C and her family. She cried a little, and I helped her to feel better, the best that I knew how. She even let me share something from the Book of Mormon. Before we left, we said a prayer, and she told me to stop by any time. Also, she said she wanted the bishop to call her about having her grandbaby blessed. Sister C had a country music on, and though we should have, neither of us asked her to turn it off. I did not see the need, as it did not interfere with our conversation. Besides, it is good music. We visited Adam for a while and tried to convince him to come to church. We had a family home meeting with the K family. The family has only been active for a little while, and I believe this really helped them because they had lots of questions, and what we taught was the first lesson. We ate dinner at McDonald's and then drove to Elder S's pad to switch back. On the way back, we were both cold, so we turned the heater on. I'll be hating life back in Idaho because when I get home, the high temperature will be about 50 degrees colder than the low temperature here. On the journey, we talked about fly fishing. We switched, and Elder H and I came back to KA. Sunday, the 21st of November 2004. Clear, hot, light wind. This morning in Ward Council, Brother H stood up and asked if he could give his report while the topic was still missionary work. The bishop agreed. Brother H told the group about him getting to talk to Cheryl and asking her to be baptized on Joe's birthday. Joe is her deceased husband. She said she'd think about it, so he told her that the time of thinking had passed, and now is the time to pray about it. Later he came back and checked on her, and she said that she will be baptized on Thanksgiving Day. The last missionary to teach her was Bishop A when he served here some 12 years ago. Her husband was a member and always tried to get her baptized. We knew that it would be pretty hectic trying to get her baptized in 4 days, but before we could worry too much about it, she changed the date to the 24th of December. Shortly after church, we went to Winifred's house with Brother H. We taught her about how much our Heavenly Father loves us, etc. She said she did not feel good enough to go to church because she smokes. I told her the Lord wants her to come despite her faults, and that is how she will get better. Brother H told her to come and told her that he will still come even when he was struggling to give up marijuana. Winifred said she would come next Sunday. She is a less active member who lives with her active mother. We then went back to the church where Brother H's wife picked him up, and we taught Kyle. Kyle's girlfriend, Linnell H., came with him. She just got back from school in Idaho and said that the high temperature in Idaho was 28 degrees. Brr. Kyle said that he wants to get baptized but does not know when. I tried really hard to get him to come to church. Linnell said they would come next Sunday. A little later, we met Brother H. at Cheryl L's house and taught her the first lesson. The reason that she changed the date on the baptism is so that her daughter could be there. We had dinner with the A family. I had them write my book. We ended the night with a visit to Brother L's so Elder H could help him figure out how to get his genealogy on his computer. On the way to the L's house, we helped a couple of guys on the road who ran out of gas. I figured that since their ox was in the mire, it would be okay to go get gas on Sunday. So I brought them 2 gallons in their gas can. Monday the 22nd of November 2004. Clear, hot, light wind. This morning I cleaned the pad and wrote letters. I wrote to the B family, to Leah's, and to my mother. At 10:30 we met Elder M and Elder C at the L family's house and cruised for a while. Then Elder M and I went shopping, etc. The reason that I was told that we were meeting was because they had 2 appointments at the same time. But when we left with Elder N, he told me that they only had 1 appointment, but he still wanted to team up. I mailed my box home, and since I wanted it to get home before I did, I had it mailed at Priority Mail, which cost me $42.10. After getting my pictures developed, and picking up the other things that I had, 43 cents on my card, which is, I believe, the lowest that I have ever had it. I took Elder M to the library so that he could email his mom. While I waited for him, I got bored and tried to find a book that would be safe to look at. Finally, a book about ancient hula caught my eye, and I flipped through it and enjoyed it very much because the women in there were very beautiful. I decided that I should put it away and repent because it is not a book approved by the mission president. However, later in the day, when I had to bring Elder H to the email, I caught myself looking at it again, but not long. And then I put it away and looked at the road atlas to try to kill the boredom. Being bored is not a good thing. While Elder M and I were waiting for the other elders to come back to the pad, I found a notice that was slipped under the door. That it said it was the second notice to trim the palm tree in the back, and next time there would be a fine. So I went to the back and trimmed it, because I knew that no one else would. Somehow I managed to cut myself on the tree because it had very sharp thorns. I was not sure if I was allowed or not, but I put all of the trimming into the common dumpster. Elder H and I got back to our pad around 1700, and when we did, there was a message for me from Elder M telling me to call him. When I called him, he told me that I need to fill out an accident report for when Elder D backed into the tree. I spent the rest of the time until dinner filling out the report. We had dinner with the A family. The whole family wrote in my book except for Sister A because she had to leave early for work. Tuesday the 23rd of November 2004. Clear, hot, and windy. This morning I read the Gospel Principles book with Carlton for about an hour. We will not meet with him for the rest of the week except for Thanksgiving Day. We had a week planned until lunch, and then we went to Yano Hall to meet Sister C because she said that she had something to give us. After we picked up the cake from Sister C, we had lunch at the pad and then finished our week plan. Most of the day was kind of a wash because no one was home. We trekked for a little while, but no one was home at the houses we went to. The funny happening of the day is I called the G family that moved into the ward about a month ago to remind them about tonight's dinner. Sister G said that she did not remember signing up, but told us to come by at 18:30. Around 16:30, we stopped by the pad, and there was a dinner on the table. There was no note or anything, so I thought that something might have come up with the G family, and they just dropped dinner off. But when I called to find out, she said that dinner was still on. Well, it turns out that I called the wrong G family, and that the family that was supposed to feed us dropped off because they could not have us over tonight. I guess we have lunch for tomorrow. After dinner, I had the G family write my book, and I took pictures with the family. When we got back to our pad, there was a pumpkin pie on the table from Brother A. Wednesday, the 24th of November, 2004. Clear hot light wind, some lightning and thunder, after dark, but no rain. We were supposed to meet with Carlton this morning, but when he was not there, I decided that it would be a good idea to walk. So we walked about 2 miles to John Yim's house, and the visit turned out to be a lot better than I expected it to be. We taught him in great detail about the apostasy and the restoration, and he understood and did not make any weird comments like he usually does. He also said that he would come to church this Sunday, but I won't hold my breath on it, as he has said before that he would come and then did not. When we got back to Carlton's house, he was back home, and we had a nice visit with him and John S. Carlton said that just before we got there, he had talked to some Jehovah's Witness ladies. I told him that Jehovah's Witnesses are nice people, but their doctrine is flawed. We read from the Book of Mormon, taught them about faith, and sort of got Carlton committed to getting baptized on Christmas Eve with Cheryl Lynn D. When we checked the mail, I got my trunky letter from the office. I call it the trunky letter because it is the letter that talks about me going home, gives me my flight plan, etc. When I opened the letter, I kind of felt weird. Before, I just felt like at the end of the transfer, I would go to another area, not go home. When I had to give my testimony at Zone Conference, it kind of sank in that I am going home. But today, when I opened the letter, it really hit that I am in fact going home at the end of this transfer. In the mailbox also was a card telling Elder H and I both that we had a package. I was really confused as to who would be sending me a package just late into my mission. And when I say the name on the package, I still had no idea. When I opened the package, it was full of candy, and it was a letter from the lady that called me from Utah at 4 in the morning a few days ago. I should write her on Preparation Day and thank her for the package. The lady also told me that her parents, Elder and Sister H, whom she had called about, just got home safe. We had a late lunch and then picked up Brother H. Then the three of us met Brother Ian at the church. Because I had received my trunky papers, Brother Ian was giving me a hard time, saying that I was trunky. I was asked to say a prayer since this was almost my last team-up with them, and I was told that I would have to say it next Wednesday. Brother H and I went to see Melinda, who is an inactive member. When I asked if I could share a message, she told me to hold on, and she went to get her daughter. I taught them a lesson about the restoration, which is the first lesson. Melinda thinks that her daughter should go to church, but she is not willing to take her as she does not want to go to church herself. The rest of the night, we did not have any good visits. We met back at the Ian family's house at 19:30 for dinner. When we got home, Brother H called and asked me to give a 10-minute talk in sacrament meeting on self-reliance. But I am not sure why, as missionaries are not the most self-reliant people. Thursday, the 25th of November, 2004. Happy Thanksgiving Day. Partly clear, light wind, heavy rain midday. This morning I worked on the area book for a while and then worked on writing my talk for Sunday. The EA family called and asked us to come for lunch, and shortly after that the other A family called to invite us over for lunch, as did Brother L. The only one that we went to was the A family's house. The food was good, but I only had one plate, asked to leave the room for dinner. While talking to Brother A, I said that Brother K wants me to come back and help him build his house. Brother A read a little too much between the lines and said that Brother K wants me to marry one of his twin daughters. I told him that it is not at all what he was talking about. He only wants me to help build his house, live with him, and work for him. I went to district meeting at 1300. The zone leader training was some dumb game, but it was kind of fun. We had dinner with the M family at 1630 at the church. After dinner, we had a good conversation, and I shared a quote from Brigham Young on being grateful. I worked on my talk from 1900 when dinner finished, and all was cleaned up, until about the time to meet the other elders for a team-up. We met the other elders at 2030 at the McDonald's lot, and Elder C and I switched, so I went home with Elder M. Friday the 26th of November 2004. Cloudy part of the day, rain, hot, light wind, sort of hot. Elder M and I had to leave the apartment at 8 because there was lots to do. First, we stopped by an investigator's house to change the time that we were going to meet with him because the Elder M forgot about zone plan and accidentally double scheduled. We next went to the M family's house to see if they could bring the investigator kid to their house. We met the zone leaders at the pad and rode with them to Waimea for zone plan. Elder S and I sang country music all the way there. At Waimea, I went on a team up with Elder M until zone plan was over. We tried to see lots of investigators, but there was not one of them home. Elder M decided to stop by the ward missionary's house. Right away, the ward missionary asked if either of us knew how to change the blades on a riding mower. I told him that I had never done it before, but that I could figure it out. In 20 minutes, I dropped the mower deck, changed the blades, and reinstalled the mower deck on the tractor. Back at the zone leader's pad, we all, Elder M, Elder S, Elder O, and I, sat around for lunch eating chili, chips, and salsa and telling stories and jokes. I enjoyed it, and we all had a good time. We met the younger sister M at the house. She followed us to the investigator's home. She was supposed to take the kids to her house so we could teach them, but she went back to without them. Elder M expected me to take the kids in the mission car, but I utterly refused and told him that inasmuch as there is a rule that says they can't ride in the car, I will obey it. He then tried to convince me that it was okay and that if President was mad, that he would take the blame. I told him that I did not care who would take the blame. I still would not drive if they got into the car because it ultimately would be responsible and anything happens. Elder M tried to make me feel like I was hindering the Lord's work, yet I refused to take them in the car. The insurance would not cover them, and the rules say that they can't be in the car, so I have legal and moral responsibility as the driver and to follow the rules. Well, it turns out that we were blessed for being obedient, and the kid's father gave them a ride to the M family's house where we taught them the second discussion. I think that one of the kids is getting baptized about the time that I go home. We visited a few Samoan families, and all the talk was in Samoan, so I'm not sure what was said, but I have a feeling that since we were there for a long time, that Elder M just stopped to cruise with them. We went to teach a Samoan lady. After Elder M talked to her in Samoan for a few minutes, he asked if I wanted to teach the next principle. I told him that since I had no idea what he taught, I told him that he could just continue. I don't know what the heck he was thinking. We ended the night with dinner at the M family's house. Earlier today, we stopped by the L family's house, and I left my book with them so they could all sign it. We met the other elders at the McDonald's lot at 2030 to switch back. I went with Elder H back to my area, and I found out that Elder H's day was a complete wash. Saturday, the 27th of November 2004. Cloudy, rain, cool, light wind. Long, boring, worthless day. Carlton canceled so that he could go to some Hawaiian meeting where they talk about becoming traitors to America and make Hawaii his own country. Hawaiian sovereignists want it to be their own country, but they ain't pulling their heads out of their butts long enough to know how they would provide for themselves if they ever succeeded in their stupid idea. The rest of the day was a wash, except for the 30 minutes we spent with John S. teaching him about faith and telling him that part of having faith in Christ is coming to his church. We ate dinner at the pad at 2000. 'cause ain't no one signed up for today. I received a letter from my mother. One of the things that she told me in the letter is that Caleb, my soon-to-be brother-in-law's mother, is telling him to date other people even though he is supposed to get married to my sister in 3 weeks. His mother has some serious issues. If he dated other girls while he was engaged to my sister, I wouldn't want him to marry her. Since I have been companions with Elder H, he has talked bad about almost everything that is important to me, such as my country, my hobbies, my music choices, my beliefs, and even the way that I talk. I just bite my tongue and let it go, but there was a time not long ago that I would not have stood for it. I just figure that right now I don't want to argue at the point. On a mission, you are really supposed to say your feelings or beliefs about anything except for doctrine. I will be glad when I can once again proudly display my love for America and say how I feel about people who are in America that don't love it. I will also be glad to play my country music again, etc. Sunday the 20th of November 2004. Mostly cloudy, 81 degrees. This morning I called the number to check in the weather, 1-800-555-TEL, and found out that today's high temperature for here is 81. The low is 69, which is the current temperature. When I called at 7, the current temperature in Pocatello was 24 degrees, which was also the high, and the low was 6 degrees. Tuesday's low is supposed to be 3. Brr. I felt like I was freezing this morning, so I really will not like Pocatello, Idaho temperature. I had to talk this morning in Sacramento about self-reliance. I was the last speaker and had to run through it a little faster than I had planned because Sister G's talk ran over. After Sacrament meeting, Bishop A. said, "Thank you for that talk. I believe that it was the best talk that I have ever heard a missionary give." Also, most of the members came and told me that they really liked my talk. Well, I am glad that everyone liked my talk. I just really hope that they learned something and that they apply what they learned to their lives. Well, today was kind of a wash too, though not near as bad as yesterday. The sacrament service in Miloli was canceled, so that gave us a lot more time to try and fill. We visited all of our investigators today, but none of them had time for us to teach, or at least that is what they said. One very positive thing about today is that we had people at church Kyle came and as did Sherilyn D. and Winifred, the last active member whom we visited in Halopia. We had dinner at the pad at 2000. Before dark, we went to see Sister J and talked to her and her friends from the mainland for a while. For some of what Sister J said, it sounds like she is about as conservative as I am. She listens to Rush Limbaugh and the other conservative talk shows and said that she prayed that Bush would get elected. I did not pray for his success, but I did vote for him. Yep, I was a lot more conservative back then than I am now. Monday the 29th of November 2004. Mostly clear and hot with a light breeze. I accidentally left my scriptures at Sister J's house, so we had to go get them. This morning I wrote the last letter I will write on my mission, and I folded all the letters like airplanes. Wait, what was it? This morning I wrote the last letters that I will write on my mission, and I folded all the letters like airplanes. Well, all except for the birthday card for Aunt Rhonda. I wrote Joe, one of my best friends, and my mother, the B family, and my aunt, a homemade card. It said, "Happy birthday from your too tight to buy a card nephew." When we went to Kailua to do our shopping, I stopped at the L's house to get a picture with the family and to get my book back from them that I had left for them to sign. Sister L said, "We can hug the missionaries when they are going home. That's my rule. I told her that it might be okay for her, but it was most definitely not okay for Brittany, the 17-year-old daughter, to hug me. At the store, I had to watch Elder H very close because he always walks off without me. I love Elder H, but the more that I am around him, the happier I think I'll be when I can leave him. He almost makes it a point to talk bad about everything that I like. One of the things that really irritates me about him is that he is terribly cynical of others and never gives them the benefit of the doubt, and he hates so many things. I guess we all have our flaws. When I first came out on a mission, I would not have been so patient with him and would not let him talk bad about everything that I believe in. Most of the time when he says something, I just pretend that I didn't even hear it, because I won't be able to change his mind, and I hate to argue. We had dinner with the A family. Carlton was supposed to come, but he canceled. After dinner, I had Elder H take a picture of me with the family. We visited the W family for a while before we went home, and I had them write my book. Well, that will be it for this episode. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to comment down below, and I will do my best to get back and answer your questions as soon as I can. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next episode.